What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. So I had some comments yesterday of people wanting to see Dawn Chorus in action with Polaris Lance, that unlimited ignition build that I did over a year ago. And I thought this would actually be really fun to do. So let's just take a look at the Nightfall. It's GM Behemoth. We've got Famine. All ammo drops are significantly reduced, but we won't really have to worry about this, as I'll get into. Overcharged weapons, of course, it's Stasis and Void Surge, so we don't have Solar Surge, which hurts our damage a little bit, but you'll see it really doesn't make a difference. And then we've got Shot Caller. Landing multiple precision hits with a primary ammo weapon empowers special and heavy ammo weapons. Reduces incoming damage while active. So this is really, really good. I don't know the numbers on it, but because we have Polaris Lance, we're always landing multiple precision hits with a primary ammo weapon. So this is just going to buff our special and heavy weapons. So yeah, really, really good. And then Void Threat, and then Unstops and Barrier Champs. So Polaris Lance is nasty against Barrier Champs. I haven't even used it this season. I even had to infuse it. So we've got Daybreak, of course. This build is the best it's ever been, which I'll get to. We've got Healing Rift, but you could do Phoenix Dive as well. Celestial Fire because we're playing at range. Solar Grenades for applying Scorch, again at range. Hellion, so this is why this build is so nasty now. Now we have Hellion to apply Scorch for us, which is really, really strong. Then Touch of Flame to buff our solar grenades. Then we've got Ember of Torches for Radiant, of course. It does give us -10 to Discipline, but it's well worth it. Ember of Ashes, this is needed to make Polaris cause an ignition in 10 shots instead of 15. And it's just nice for stunning unstops with ignitions as well. Ember of Singeing, this is crucial to the build. I actually switched this. I did one run. I died on the last wave of the boss, which was really stupid. But anyways, we've got Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. We're constantly scorching targets with this build from our weapon, our grenades, our melees, and even our Hellions. So this will give us our class ability back super quickly, allowing us to pop more Hellions. And then Ember of Searing, defeating scorched targets grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite. So then we've got Mountaintop, which is just a monster on the Threshers, and again, great at range. We've got Overload, GL, and Concussive Reload, so it's also going to allow us to apply a debuff to enemies to weaken them by 15%. Polaris Lance, of course, you know the synergy there. Big booms when you hit crits. And then Edge Transit, Envious Assassin, Bait and Switch, Void Surge is on, so this is really nice. I've also got Kinetic Impacts on, so we can use that to stun Unstoppables. And of course we have Anti-Barrier Scout. So even though there's no Solar Surge, because of Anti-Barrier Scout, we're getting that 25% extra damage. And because of Overload GL, our Mountaintop is still hitting for 25% extra damage, even though we're not matching the Surge with our Super. Then Solar Siphon, of course, because we're getting tons of kills with Polaris Lance. Heavy Ammo Finder is clutch in this because Famine is on and we're getting a ton of Polaris kills. Focusing Strike and Impact Induction. So these give us grenade and melee energy when we deal damage with our melee. Sorry, grenade and class ability energy when we deal damage with our melee. This is unreal because we're getting so many melees back because of Dawn Chorus. If you don't know what Dawn Chorus does, hopefully it shows in the preview here. Improves Scorch effects and Daybreak projectiles. So it improves your Scorch and makes your super hit harder, but it also gives melee energy when you scorch targets. And then I don't even have Void Resist, but you'll see you don't really need it. Solar Weapon Surge just for a little bit more Polaris Lance damage. And then Innervation and Insulation for class ability and grenade energy when we pick up orbs. And then Bomber and Outreach, so when we cast our class ability, we're getting grenade and melee energy, and then Time Dilation. And then here's the mods. Like I said, most of them, there's no solar synergy on this. But like I said, I'm using the things that do apply. And we've got Vorpal Weapon and Impulse Amplifier on Mountaintop, which is really, really strong. Sorry, that's probably a little loud. So I'll turn it down. Hopefully that's not too loud. So what I wanted to do was get multiple precision hits off the bat here. So this was really scuffed, but if you get multiple precision hits, you can actually kill this Thresher in 4 shots. But unfortunately, I didn't, and then I got flinched by one of its missiles. But anyway, so we do the Wombo combo with our melee and our grenade. So now we're applying Scorch to everything there. We're just going to start going in with Polaris Lance. You can see we get an ignition quickly takes out like everything there. We're gonna start doing damage on the Colossus. We weaken him, and then I could have procced some more ignitions with the Colossus, but I chose just to take him out quickly because we do have an ammo crate. There's a few ammo crates sprinkled throughout this. I think this first one gives you full ammo, but all the other ones just give you partial ammo. So that's something to note. So then there, again, we already have our melee ability, so we proc Radiant. And then, yeah, we're just going to try to... If we hit 10 crits, we'll get 2 perfect fifths, and then we're able to get a stun. So what was crappy here is that barrier hob. It'd be nice if your Daybreak projectiles went through. I think that's the next thing Bungie has to do, because of Song of Flame is so good because you intrinsically can still keep your weapons out and deal with all champions while in your super. Other supers can deal with champions to a degree, but Song of Flame is kind of the best at it. So yeah, it'd be cool if Daybreaks had anti-barrier. But anyways, we take out that barrier hobgoblin. So that was a little messy. I should have probably... It's hard to stun that hobgoblin and the unstop at the same time to get the Daybreak. But what I'm trying to do with this... So the reason... I made a build this week. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I haven't done a commentary in months. Because even that Balador's one, if you watched it yesterday, or whenever I wind up uploading this... if you watch the Balador's one, I recorded that before Balador's was even... disabled. Like, that was months ago. So yeah, it's been a hot minute, but I do love this build. And yeah, so I had a video this week saying that the meta has changed and that roaming supers are kind of the meta now. So what I'm trying to do here, you can see we pop another super. Somebody commented on it that they would love to see this build in action now, because it's so good at getting supers now because it's a roaming super. So you get it back 3 times quicker than you used to, and then Polaris Lance deals massive primary weapon damage, so that, like, Outbreak builds super very, very quickly because it's a primary that deals great damage. So does Polaris Lance. So just look at my super bar right here. It's just filling up super quickly. I could have just kept proccing ignitions with the Colossus, but you do want to kind of spam your heavy because, like I said, you do have that crate that's behind you and it will reload all your ammo. So that's kind of why I'm not totally showing off Polaris Lance to its full potential at the start, but even still, you can see we are building our super like crazy. We make lots of orbs. We also have, I can't remember if it's curative orbs. One of the ones where you break a shield and it will drop an orb as well. So we can actually make a fair decent amount of orbs because we're getting so many solar kills with Solar Siphon. And here, again, you can see we're about to get our super back. So this is just crazy. Now Hellion's doing work for us as well. It's applying Scorch. Like I said, Scorch is giving us melee energy. And then we use our melee to get our class ability back. Scorch is also giving us Rift energy from Ember of Searing. So yeah, there's just a lot of really good synergy. In my opinion, this build is the best it's ever been now. And like I said, this is all without Solar Surge on. So right here, I probably killed that. I definitely killed that guy. So you could see I actually stopped throwing my blades at him, and he did stay alive. I thought the Scorch would probably take him out, but I think he winds up remaining like 1 shot. But again, with Solar Surge on, which could be next episode, I'm not sure, we get the kill on that guy. So yeah, like I said, you can see he's like 1 shot. But yeah, even still, this build, mono subclass, even though Solar is incredibly strong, I beat this quicker than with that Balador's build on Prismatic. Granted, my weapon loadout's a little different, and that was my very first clear ever. I haven't watched any other like YouTube videos other than Sutek beat this, but when Sutek does a solo flawless, you don't really learn the... So this Thresher is very dangerous. But yeah, when Sutek does a solo GM, you don't really learn the spawns because he's killing everything so fast that it's triggering multiple ad spawns at once. So even though I watched his, I still don't know like everything about the spawns. So unfortunately that Thresher got away. It will come back. But yeah, that's why I kind of stand here. And then here again, you can see we're about to get our Rift back, even though we had pretty much just popped it. So we pop it again. We're applying Scorch. And look at my healing Rift energy go up. We're already at 33%. And now if I can get a Scorch proc with Polaris Lance, that's going to just keep applying it. So very, very, very strong build. And then again, you can see we almost have our... So I've got a sniper on my right, so he's the priority there because the Barrier Colossus is stunned. So yeah, that guy can mess us up, so that's why I stopped shooting the barrier for a second, take out that Scion because he's our threat, and now we can just focus in. I do have my super, but if I didn't have my super, I probably would have got 25 to 33% super just off that Colossus. So here, we take out the Thresher finally. We did have Shot Caller procced there. I thought the Unstop was going to push me, which was unfortunate that he didn't. And then again, so here Hellion and my Solar Grenade was applying Scorch. So we're able to get the stun on him, take him out very quickly. Again, no Solar Surge, and you can see we're still just pumping out damage with our Dawn Chorus super. So like I said, I'm pretty much just there. You can see I don't get a Radiant proc. So if all your melees hit the shield of a Phalanx, even though it applies Scorch, it's still not going to give you the Radiant proc because they are immune from their shield. So again, that's something that's a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, you can see this build is putting in work even without Solar Singe. And we are still getting some ammo drops, which is nice. And then this is also a really safe build. As you can see, every time like ads spawn in, I kind of just back up. And then I'm just trying to spam my abilities as much as I can. You can see I had a melee, so I just chucked it out. Then I pop my Rift to get Hellion. And then there, again, I have my melee back already, which is totally crazy, to be honest. So yeah, here we're about to get our super again. Again, I can't stress how good that is. Like, Dawn Chorus has always been one of my favorite builds. And since Final Shape, we've gotten... So I let that guy get away as well, even though he was one shot, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, since Final Shape, we've gotten Hellion, which works perfectly with this build because Hellion's already really strong, and then the Scorch from it is just dealing more damage thanks to Dawn Chorus. And then we get way more super uptime on Dawn Chorus, which really improves the build as well because pretty much half of its utility is that extra Daybreak damage. So yeah, just very, very, very strong. Just love this build. It's an all-time classic, and yeah, was honestly just excited to showcase it. Like many of you, I'm getting a little burnt out of Destiny as well. I actually made a video kind of dissecting Justin Truman's GDC talk and how basically their philosophy is kind of working to ruin the game a little bit because everything's so formulaic. We've had 10 dungeons now. I'm not sure how many raids, but lots of raids, 14 exotic missions. Unfortunately, that Barrier Colossus, he should have popped his shield when he was lower, but he was in the middle of a jump animation, so I think that's why he popped his shield. Or, sorry, that's why he didn't pop his shield and moved up. But yeah, basically, like I was saying, I'm getting a little burnt out too, but the gameplay is so fun. So yeah, I still love making builds. Like I said, I've made 2 build videos on this build, and I could make a third now because, like I said, the Hellion change, Ember of Searing, you want now. So I've made adjustments and tweaks to this build, which I've stressed in many of my videos that you have to build for the content. So this one, you don't really need Restoration Grenades and Extend Resto and Radiant because you just sit back and plink with this build anyway. So it's actually better to build into abilities and Ignition and Scorch because that's going to get you further. So yeah, like I said, I tweaked this build again. Maybe I will make a build video on it. I'm not totally sure. Maybe for episode Heresy. That might be something you guys want to see. I'm not sure. But yeah, anyways, this build is literally better than ever, and it's one of my all-time favorite builds. And yeah, like I said, that is where I get enjoyment out of Destiny, is just making super fun builds and taking them through endgame content and watching them wreck. It's so much fun. So like I said, even though no Solar Surge, even though Prismatic is strong as hell, like busted, the mono subclasses can still compete. Like I said, Geomegs is one of my favorite builds. I've soloed GMs this season with Geomegs, and they're really good this season thanks to arc compounding. And then this is another favorite of mine that, yeah, I just had so much fun running this Battleground. Like I said, I failed at the very end, and I wasn't even that annoyed. because I was like, you know what? I'm going to put Ember of Searing on because I didn't have it the first time. So that first run, again, it kind of refreshed everything for me. I still don't know the ad spawns perfectly, but yeah, I didn't even mind running it back. I wasn't annoyed. I was just like, yeah, I'm having fun playing with this build. And as long as I'm having fun, I'll keep playing the game, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, I didn't plan to make another solo GM on this one, but thank you to whoever commented saying that you wanted to see Don Chorus, because you were the reason I even wanted to do this. I was excited. I read it last night, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. And then I was like excited all night to like get back in and play it. So yeah, just kind of fun. So anyways, here you have to destroy these 3 arrays. I destroyed probably the easiest one first. You probably want to do the back right one first if you can, which I'll show you why later. But anyways, here again, so you just have to take out a bunch of enemies, and you can see each enemy is worth 5%. Actually, maybe not quite, because we just had a 19%, and now we're at 24. But roughly 5% for every enemy you take out. So we just sit back and plink away with our Polaris Lance. Like I said, chucking out abilities. We're getting our Hellions. So here's an unstop. There's unstops and barriers and stuff that come up as well. So here, I don't know if I'm long or short on those GL shots, but you can see I missed a bunch. So that was unfortunate because I wasted some ammo. And these ammo crates that are here only give you like about 4 shots. So it's not a ton. So there we got a Hellion and threw out our melee and our grenade, and that was enough to stun the Unstoppable. So it's not as easy as Season of the Wish to stun unstops, because that, if you were Radiant, I think, your first shot to an unscorched target would apply Scorch. And then with Ember of Ashes, you could actually stun in 5 shots. It would just take 1 perfect 5th proc, where this season, like I said, it's a little harder. Not that it's super difficult, but yeah, you just have to sit back and be a little more patient. I could use kinetic impacts as well to stun those unstops, but yeah. So here, again, I'm not totally sure what's causing the enemy spawns. I think it's a timer. So if you don't slay out fast enough, you're going to get more ships of Cabal dropping in. So that's why we got more guys on this plate, even though I had just cleared it. So that's just something to be aware of. Now we get 100%. I'm rotating. So I didn't realize an unstop spawns with this guy, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, basically I just want to get this guy down. So we used concussive reload to get the 15% weaken before we popped our super. And then once we had that 15% weaken, we start going in. This was a little dangerous because, yeah, there's so many enemies up now. But like I said, I'm trying to just pop my super pretty much whenever it's on cooldown. There, again, Hellion saved us. The Hellion had shot that unstop as he was coming in, and then my melee was enough to apply enough Scorch to push to an ignition, and then we were able to take that guy out. So yeah, there is the utility of Hellion. Here, just running away from that guy. He's doing big damage. That's why I actually run Arc Resist. The boss shoots Arc, and he hits like an absolute truck. You cannot let him get up on you or you will die. As you'll see at the end, he hits really hard, and we actually trade, but it's still a full clear. So I still just wanted to post this because, like I said, I just really enjoy the build. So now look at how many enemies are over there, and I'm getting close-ish to a super, but yeah, there's lots of enemies back there. If I could proc an ignition, that would be perfect. And looks like we may have gotten ignition there. Yeah, we did, because that unstop got stunned. So now we're just going to keep trying to proc ignitions on these unstoppables. And then once the unstops are dead, then we will focus on taking out the other enemies to bring in that last guy with the unstable charge to blow up the last array. But yeah, you can see you're not doing a ton of damage to the unstops even when they're stunned with the ignitions and whatever. And again, part of that is just because there's no solar surge. I know we have anti-barrier, so Polaris is getting it, but I'm not sure if my ignition damage is being increased because there's no solar surge. I didn't take the time to like dissect numbers from like before and after from different seasons and whatever. But anyway, here, unfortunately, the unstops ran away. So that's another issue. So now I'm going to have to move around. I'm just going to speed this up because I don't want to bring in the next guy. There, you can see we only got 4 ammo from that crate. And then here, again, we're getting more enemies spawning in, which is unfortunate. Like I said, I wish I knew what was causing them to spawn in, but I don't. So we just have to kind of back up, clear 1 plate just so we have some safe room to work. And then we're going to try to get the stun. Unfortunately, he got away, and now we've got this Centurion. And I did wind up getting the stun in the end, so that was really unfortunate, because now I don't have a melee, and my Hellion is going to run out. But yeah, sometimes you just have to focus on the threats rather than the champions. That champ's not pushing or anything, so it's not an immediate threat, where those other guys shooting from across the way are. So yeah, just the way it goes sometimes. We're going to burn our heavy to get this guy down quickly. So now he's dead. Now we just have to get that other one. And then we will be good to spawn in that final enemy. Oh yeah, and then here we get another spawn. So because I have to deal with them, now we're pushing to 100%. So now we still have an unstop on the field. So this was bad on my part. That's the new unstop, I think, that just spawned in. And I would like to stun him. We do get the stun. I wasn't expecting it, though. So I was a little late on my super pop, which cost me because now he is unstunned, so he's taking less damage. So we just use our super on the other enemies. Here, got a little risky and dangerous. If that void projectile had hit me, I'm probably dead there. But yeah. Again, I wasn't expecting the stun, so that's why I was late on my super pop, but it's okay because he is in finisher territory and we have our Hellion anyways. We don't even have to kill those big guys on there because once we kill the array, they're all going to despawn. Now watch out for this. You can actually probably die there. So I almost die there, which would have been super unfortunate. And then you get all your abilities back. So it's good to pop your super near the end of that. Because you're going to get your super and all your abilities back. Unfortunately, I chucked my abilities at the wrong thing. I thought that one was going to be the Honored Legionary, so I was trying to get a quick kill on it, but it was just a single Scion, so that was too bad. So, even though I have my super, I want to deal with all these enemies and use my super for boss damage. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just, even though I could be building super by killing all these things, it's much better to just save your super. And now we're going to go in on the boss. So we're going to weaken. Unfortunately, I didn't see that guy. So now our weaken, he won't be weakened the whole time we have our super, which is unfortunate. Because you can't reapply concussive reload. You have to wait until it wears off to reapply it. So this is why now I'm just doing some heavy damage in the hopes that I reapply it when we get there. And then I pop my super, and look at his health bar. Like, that's pretty good damage, because this guy is super tanky. Again, if you watch, like, Sutek or Special, Consecration Titan is completely busted, so you can't really... I mean, yes, people do use it all the time, so you can use it, but you can't expect that kind of damage on pretty much any other class. So I popped a bunch of heavy shots into him, and then I did my super, so that was really good damage. Now here, I have him stun locked in a really interesting position, so he's not moving. So I don't throw out a Radiant here. I'm actually just going to back this up. Look at my super energy as well here. But yeah, what I'm saying is he was stuck in a weird spot. So normally I would chuck out my melee to apply Radiant. I would shoot a GL shot to apply Weaken. That would be doing a ton more damage, but I would lose out on the potential that he's going to move back. I'm in a perfect spot here. I have cover, and he's kind of shooting from behind cover, and see his shots are mostly hitting that rock. So that's why I didn't throw a Radiant melee. I didn't throw Mountaintop for Weaken. I just want to keep laying on the trigger the entire time and keep proccing my ignitions because, like I said, that was a really lucky spot I got him in. and to be able to just chunk him down that easily with a primary was huge. So yeah, that was really, really lucky on my end. I've never really seen him get stuck like that, and that was super beneficial for me. So here, I am going to apply a weaken, and then I get my melee. So here we do those things, and look at how much damage Polaris is chunking for on this guy. Like, that's crazy. So again, I know we have a super, but I wanted to get that Barrier Colossus down first because he's dangerous. And then I'm just kind of plinking away at some red bars because you don't really want to waste a super on the red bars. So what I should have done here was popped super right after I had some red bars killed and like taken out that Honored Legionary and the Honored Incendior. But instead I was still plinking away. Not really sure why. Should have popped my super, but it is what it is. So now we wind up just taking out all the enemies. So this was pretty unoptimal because I could have got probably almost half my super back right there. But yeah, why aren't I popping super? I would have thought I would have there. But once you get the champs down, now the boss is eligible to take damage again. So that's one good thing, I guess, with having a super. So here I pop it for ad clear. So other people on that new meta video were talking about some other supers that still need some help. I think Nova Warp's decent. Winter's Wrath with Balladors is decent, as I talked about in my other video. They've brought some up, but so top tree Dawn was the Crucible one. So bottom tree Dawn used to have like Scorch before Scorch was a verb. And it also used to, its super was nasty. There was the Fanatic strike that was only around the one season with the mini Screebs. Bottom tree Dawn Chorus was meta in there because you could pop your super, and if you were getting super kills, it would extend the duration of your super. So a lot of people were saying, like, what could help Dawn Chorus? Sorry, not Dawn Chorus, Daybreak or Dawnblade. And I think that giving it that old bottom tree functionality would be awesome. Because, yeah, so with Dawn Chorus, you do a ton of single target damage, which is great, and I'm wanting to use that on the boss. But you could also use it as ad clear, which I've also shown in this video. And if you get kills, then it could extend the duration of your Dawnblade. So that would be really cool if they... I think it's in a decent spot, at least with Dawn Chorus. But yeah, if you wanted to help it out, I think that would be the play to make. So here we have our super back already. So this is what I still struggle with because, again, I've only done this GM literally twice. 3 times if you count that run where I died right at the end. But yeah, basically, I don't know the best way to handle this part. So I'm trying to get some shots in on the thing. And then once I get pushed, I'm going to use my super to take out the shield, hopefully. So unfortunately, it looks like it doesn't actually take it out. But that was my goal there. So precision weapons deal really good damage against that. I think Revision 0, it's like 1 or 2 shots, and that thing is down, which is unreal. Where Mountaintop, I put in like 2 or 3 shots there, then pop my super. But yeah, it just appears that my super doesn't deal good damage to it. So there was still more enemies up, which surprised the hell out of me. I was like, what the hell? Where's all these enemies coming from? And then more enemies come in. So it was really, really unfortunate that I didn't get the shield break there. We're adding a lot of time. But those things happen. So what I probably should have done was maybe like cast a rift right inside. So kind of right in front of where I am there. And just spam Mountaintop from right there while in a rift. So I wouldn't have been worried about dying until that collapses and then pop your super. So maybe I should have killed some more ads and then focused on that, get it down, and then I could pop my super, do a bunch of boss damage. The good thing was I did still do boss damage while in there because even though he's in there, he's not immune. That thing is just up to force you to have to play an objective and kind of get to a spot where you don't want to be. So here I'm taking the enemies out with my Polaris Lance. You can see I'm getting a ton of super energy. Like, I should have counted, and I know I said this on a different video. I think it was my Stormcaller Crown of Tempest build. But yeah, if anyone wants to count how many supers I have in this and say it at the start of the video in the comments, it'd be appreciated. You don't have to, but I'm curious. And again, I wasn't popping like every time it was up. I was still saving it for like good times to use it. So here again, we're getting enemies spawning in. We get a solar grenade, and we're just going to push the boss here and then use our super to take out the ads that had spawned in. Because once you push the boss, now there's more guys that spawn in. Unfortunately, it's a barrier champ, so my Dawnblade's kind of useless against it, so I actually have to back up. But yeah, if you're in a team, then one of them can start dealing damage to the barrier, and then you're still in your super and whatever. But yeah, like I said, if Dawnblade got anti-barrier, that would also be really, really cool. I know it's more power creep, but you kind of have to do that unless you're going to nerf the things that are way out of band. You kind of have to bring the other things up to that level. Like I was bitching about Nova Bomb being absolutely trash before Final Shape, and then they did buff it, and then it became worth using. But yeah, it like couldn't even take out a champion, not even like close. So unfortunately, that unstop got away, so we're just going to go in on the Barrier Colossus. We're trying to proc an ignition here to take out the enemies that are nearby, and it works really, really well. We stun the unstop, we take out the enemies that were nearby, and just like that, we have a super again, which is unreal. So then once they're down, Dracus is damageable again, so we're just going to take out some phalanxes and just kind of plink away at all the other enemies. Again, you can see our abilities are full back. That is crazy, the amount of ability spam this build has. So now I'm just going to pop super because why not? We're getting so many and I just want these enemies dealt with. There's some orange bar phalanxes, and Dawnblade is really good against those guys. It's just not good against barrier champs. So even though they have shields, it kind of cuts through it. So here, I think, yeah. So when that boss pushes you, you have to get away, because if he gets a full volley of a shotgun on you, you're done. Like, his shotgun hits really, really hard. And even if he stomps you, that's actually what killed me in my other run. I was on the other side of the rock, and I was kind of just posting up. I had laid a rift down too, so I had an overshield, and I have concussive dampener on, and his stomp one-shot me. And I was like, holy shit, like I didn't think you could really get one shot anymore with 100 resilience. So yeah, it was just a little surprising to me. So there, we get the weaken, and now we're just going in. We have lots of edge transit ammo, and look at it absolutely pump this guy. And again, we're almost full on our super. So I talked about it in the Ballador's video, but what you want to do, you don't want to let more enemies spawn in. So when you go in to break the shield, you want all your firepower available, and then you just melt the boss right there. This is much easier in a team, but I wanted to see if my Daybreak could do it. Because look, he doesn't have a ton of health, plus we can get the weaken from concussive reload, and you'll see we actually trade, which, again, I don't really care. Lots of you have said, because I talked about how one reason I wanted to stop doing these solo GMs is it's like, okay, we're 30 minutes in now, and then if I die, then I have to do all that just to get back here. When you guys could still learn a lot from the run, you get to see a fun and cool build, a build that I want to showcase. So it was getting frustrating if I would die on like the last phase of the boss, like kept happening to me on Lightblade. It just felt like a big slog, where I know the build is capable of beating it. So yeah, even though we trade, I still wanted to showcase this run. So here, this is bad. I let this Honored Phalanx get away because I missed one of my crits because I was taking damage from those other guys, and now he's in the bubble. You do not want many enemies in the bubble if you can help it. You want to try to bait them out of the bubble because, yeah, when they're in there, look, they can damage me, but I can't really damage them. He was on the edge, so I was able to kill him. But yeah, they're able to shoot out of it where you can't shoot into it. So this is the toughest part, because you want to take that out really, really quickly. And now more enemies spawned in behind me. That's what that drop pod noise was. So now I have to back up. This was kind of dumb throwing my abilities out, because I probably should have just thrown them on the shield generator that we have to break. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's the best angle. So right there, right away, I could have got in there and maybe got 1 or 2 pot shots in on the thing, but instead I waited and they all rotated to me. That was kind of bullshit. Like, he's not immune, but that's just the jankiness of Destiny. So it is what it is. But yeah, when I had rotated over there, I could have got a couple shots in and retreated, but now they rotated to me. Now I have no rift. So I just kind of YOLO it here, and I'm just like, you know what, screw it. So I back up behind this thing, and then we're going to get our mountaintop shot in, which was crucial because we actually weakened the boss. And then his stomp pushed me right out of the thing. If it didn't, one of my Dawn Blades hit that shield, which was unfortunate. I'll show you. So one of the Dawn Blades hits the shield. Otherwise, we kill him. But yeah, his stomp pushed me all the way out. So what I should have done was probably got high. So jumped way up in the air instead of staying low. That would have kept my health up. I wouldn't have got booped back so far. And I would have been able to kill him. And you can see we do get the kill. It says Commander Drock is dead. Nightfall, like, we complete the thing. So I thought I was actually going to respawn here and actually get it because I've seen that before. But literally, it must have just been a second too late that I killed him. And like I said, that doesn't happen if that one Daybreak projectile doesn't hit the shield right here. I get immunes there. If I land that one, we're chilling. Because then I'm still in super right here. I'd still be in super, he'd be dead, and I would have enough damage resistance from my super to survive it. So yeah, we still beat it, even though I probably won't have like the solo clear on GM report or whatever, but I don't really care. Like I said, I wanted to show the build, and it was really cool, in my opinion. So if you liked it, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.